You must assess this world with truth. You must be as a child, meaning pre-programming. That's part of what entering heaven as a child means. You have to be honest with yourself about this world. You're told right off the bat you're on Earth. How do you know? Why? Because other humans tell you that? They've told you that's where you are, that this is life, the food chain is normal, biology says so. How do you know that? You're trusting everything you've been told. If your instinct, which is valid, tells you that doesn't make sense, you're right. That's what building your house on a rock means. You must know thyself. Satan controls all of academia, all of the media, all of the money, everything you're told. All its symbols are everywhere. The color blue, the color purple, butterflies. Butterflies are a huge symbol of Satan, the transformation from what you are into what it wants you to be. So it's subconsciously putting that image of metamorphosis out there. You have sorcery being practiced on you. You have all kinds of control methods you couldn't even comprehend. Those who are in control of the world are anti-Christ. It's obvious. They're puppets of Satan. The anti-Christ consciousness and control system here was already there back then. The anti-Christ or diseased cancerous consciousness is what murdered him then, and it has risen since. Understand that. That's what happened. And they can argue it all they want. It's what they do. That's why they argue. That's all they can do, is argue. And eventually they can't answer questions anymore, so they just talk over you. Or, I love this one, you're crazy, you need some therapy. Generally, the people that run the world will come off as the nice ones. Everything they'll say about their group is always going to be, of course, nice, and anybody who says anything against their group is, of course, insane. The implication is they're insane, and the group will always be nice about it. You know, I care about you. You seem to be having some mental problems. You might benefit from some therapy. And you create this fraudulent pseudoscience they call psychology, and you indoctrinate the public into its credibility so that you can draw upon it whenever you are discovered. You witness this all the time, whether you know it or not. You see, in the Bible, they even tell you, watch out for people who give long, extended sermons for praise and their outer persona. It's right in there. But with mind control, people cannot allow themselves to see their primary agenda. They absolutely require you to feel responsible for whatever they have done to you. They need you to be ignorant of the extra-dimensional influence. Because if you're ignorant of that, you will blame everything on yourself. What they do is make you default the best they can. Make you defy what you normally would do. They do all the shit through you, pervert you, corrupt you, your character, basically. Get all the other characters to hate you if possible. And then use what they've done to and through you against you. Satan isn't stupid. Satan's intellectual strength grows with each new soul that it absorbs. Hence a Marilyn Manson lyric, the more you fear us, the stronger we get. You know, it's a growth. Do you understand that? It's growing like a cancer. Like a bunch of computers that are all linked together for super processing. They see no limits. They want new formulas, new calculations, new colors, new sounds, you know? They break your will until eventually you just give yourself to this cancer consciousness so it can absorb you for itself. That's why people that try to do everything right here cannot. But they're conned into thinking this is normal here. And that's what Satan doesn't want you to know. That's what demons don't want you to know. They want you concerned about the future. And they're strategizing against this because they know this knowledge is going to get out. So Satan will try to get you to abandon the mind altogether. Why? Because there is truth in the fraudulent nature of your ego. So it knows that truth will come out, so it has to amplify that and exaggerate it beyond usefulness. Get rid of the whole mind. Become a robot. Those been taken over by cancer see the world as math, random calculation of possibility, and it can snowball based upon pain and pleasure. Comedy is the #1 vector for mind control because it puts you in a pleasurable state and you're focused on the joke, and therefore they can slip in so many messages and you'll associate their messages with pleasure. Every truth that is true, they make fun of it as if it's corny and stupid, and that's the whole intent of that. You see it as comedy, expression of a comedian to get some laughs, because you don't know how over your head these movie producers are and what is controlling them. If you want to call it Satan, Semiramis, Isis, the serpent, it doesn't matter. And it recruits them and tells them how much it loves them. Do you understand that evil is going to come in the name of love? You think it's stupid? It's going to come in the name of hate? No! The #1 thing that evil will push on you is love and how much it loves you. Just like the guy trying to get sex in a bar, telling the girl how much he loves her and how he'll respect her in the morning. Satan plagiarizes to recruit, to entice, to seduce. It plagiarizes the Creator. Just love me. Do whatever you want, just love me, and I'll love you back. Satan coordinates this bullshit New Age movement to get people to dissociate. It's no different than getting drunk.
Don't talk to me so firmly. You're putting me on a negative vibration.
What? It's detachment from your normal instinct to try to help everybody in this realm. You become concerned with your own bliss. Therefore, you don't speak out against it unless you're speaking out to get other people to detach. Lilith, right? All the different names for the serpent. There's a difference between using psychic manipulation to enhance your feeling of pleasure, the tingly sensation that it uses, that Satan uses, and true love. And the irony is this. A lot of these people that are worshiping Satan with whatever name they choose, with whatever form Satan is using to seduce them, when they feel love, that's the love of God. But because you can't discern that with all of this confusion here, Satan just takes credit for that. Yes, that was my love. Satan is like a cancer. Therefore, it has scalar growth, and it will see itself as one thing. So, when it seduces and entices and recruits, its reasoning will be very, very close to the reasoning that Christ would have. We are one. I am you, you are me. Very similar to creation, isn't it? Yet, it will have the cancer agenda, right? Hurt other people, that's fine. Just love me. That is the difference. Cancer wants you to do whatever you want to that which is not its creation, to destroy it, as long as your allegiance is to the cancer. And once it sucks you in, you're its slave, whether you know it in your current role or not. It knows. So it can be very confusing because it will make a lot of sense. It will mirror a lot of the laws of creation, except for the love and respect for all of the creations. That will be the difference. Greed, materialism. There are two oneness campaigns going on simultaneously. One of them is the recruiting by the cancer. We are one. Do you understand that? We're one consciousness. And that is the phenomenon of the all-seeing eye, or the hive mind. Satan can speak through anybody at any time that it's connected to. The problem is, the majority of these used car salesmen everybody calls priests, with this black and white, the dark side of the yin-yang, as these burning incense, all of these things you're warned about in the Bible. Do you understand that they are practicing occult Satanism, whether they know it or not? Some of them were probably indoctrinated into Catholicism. Others were indoctrinated into Satanism and are posing as Catholic priests. Either way, they're recruiting and manipulating people with it. And if somebody does know about the occult side of it, they're not going to tell you anyway, so you have to know the truth in order to be able to see this. These people aren't qualified to teach you about spirit any more than somebody's qualified to teach you how to ride a bike who's only read a book about riding a bike, and a fraudulent one at that, and has never ridden one themselves. They're not qualified. Catholicism is pure Satanism. The problem is you shouldn't need to be told that. You should be able to see that. Priests that come out and need their audience and admiration in their temple. Why does God need a temple, a building? What? It means nothing. But they get off on that because everybody gives the priest their love. They don't give anything back. They just absorb the love, which is what a lot of spiritual, quote, gurus do. They absorb your energy through admiration, what they're doing. Let me ask you something. Did Christ feel like he needed to wear a specific outfit in order to be credible? Oh, that's right. No, he didn't. What book was this man regurgitating from? Oh, that's right. No book. They're giving it a name and a procedure and a ritual. What name did he give it? Oh, that's right. No name. Do you realize that a lot of the truth that is used about creation, life, the elements of reality, a lot of that used to solicit them into that religion is also the teachings of Christ? How ironic that they draw upon the teachings of Christ to turn those against Christ. These people have a history of pointing their fingers at themselves. They did it when they switched from dictatorship to hidden hand. They're doing it now. It could very well be that these religions were designed, their very purpose, thinking this many moves ahead, designed to fail. How? Why? Well, if they steal the teachings of Christ, then point their fingers at themselves like they always do, expose the Babylonian symbolism, the satanic symbolism of the religions they created, they could do that in hopes to make you abandon all Christ's teachings as well, do you see? If you don't know that they stole those teachings, then you'll think that they created those teachings. They expose the deity as symbolism, and then everybody will have their big sigh of relief. Oh, we don't have to be good. We don't have to follow any of that. You see, the ultimate last-ditch attempt to discredit Christ. Why? That opens the door for the New World religion of sorcery, or Satanism. It has to be that because there's no way these people doing what they're doing could have given the metaphors that Christ gave to create some symbolic deity. Just the two wouldn't go hand in hand. It really, from what I've been learning, what I've seen, they stole his teachings to draw people into both Christianity and Satanism. Then they're going to point the finger at the symbolism of Christianity and other religions so that people release all the teachings of Christ, thinking it was a fraud, for the final entrapment. The more that I'm taught, the more that I'm learning, the more I understand what Christ was saying. I mean, from the ground up. I may say it differently, but I understand it. There are a lot of people that are like, yeah, I understand it too. That's not what I mean. I mean, I truly understand it. So, one thing I know is that somebody at some time knew what I'm learning better than I know it. And you can only know that when you know it. And how do I know this person was connected to creation? Well, from what I'm learning. Somebody knew the correct way to perceive this reality, what it was, and how to handle it, how to overcome it. I know the Illuminati didn't come up with a lot of those parables. They couldn't have, because if they could, meaning they had the understanding, the knowledge that builds the foundation reaching the conclusion in these parables, if they knew that, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. Let me say that again. If these people that created religion knew and understood the meaning behind those parables, they would not be doing what they're doing right now. Therefore, I know that somebody knew outside of this control system. So, by deduction, based upon what I know, the man existed. I can only infer that they stole the teachings of this man to sell this pagan worship of Satan. Why did he keep his mouth shut when they questioned him? A, they didn't want to know the truth, and B, they weren't going to give him 2 weeks to try to lead him to the truth. Therefore, he couldn't answer the questions. He just kept his mouth shut. And he knew they were all under demonic mind control. Forgive them, they know not what they do. Why do you think you didn't know what you were doing?
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. This came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
That's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
The invention of television has made it possible for us to communicate through a combination of sights and sounds. Modern means of communication have overcome the ancient barriers of time and distance,
in which is visible a whole new era of communication. In one generation, voice and vision have transcended space. Science, engineering, and organization have harnessed the ratio between light and sound.
Do you suffer because your storehouse of words is smaller than you'd like it to be? Well then, hey, don't touch that channel selector. Well then, kids, you don't have to... Hey, I told you not to touch the selector. This is all for you. This is all for you. This is all for you. This is all for you.
Psychological warfare has been waged against America for much of this century. This war for the mind of the public has been facilitated by the emergence of mass media and the transformation of American education by behavioral psychologists. In the book 1984, George Orwell warned that people were in danger of losing their human qualities and freedom of mind without being aware of it while it was happening because of psychological, emotional, and intellectual manipulation. Mind control. Mind control in America. The most effective way to protect yourself from subconscious manipulation is by being aware of how it works. What the conscious mind believes, the subconscious acts on. It works like programming a computer. Information is fed into a computer, and the computer acts on it. However, if the information fed into the computer is wrong, it still acts on it. If a person believes something that is not true, the memory banks of the subconscious mind do not correct the error, but act on it. The theory of cognitive dissonance holds that the mind automatically and involuntarily rejects information not in line with previously accepted thoughts and beliefs. Watching television often produces an altered state of consciousness. Though not consciously perceived, the television screen, while appearing static, actually flickers. Any repeating light or sound pattern can lead you into an altered state. A hypnotist uses patterned speech by varying the pacing and inflection of his voice to induce this state of mind in his subject. It is in this state of mind where one is the most receptive to mental programming. Whether or not the information takes hold in the mind depends on two factors: trust in the source of the information and repetition of the message. Trust in the source of the information induces acceptance of the message as true, even if it is not understood. Repetition of the message embeds it in the subconscious so that acceptance of its truth and accuracy becomes a conditioned response. Thus, this information will be accepted as true without thinking about it whenever it is presented again.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Seal. What word? Seal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up.
Americans are asking, why do they hate us? They hate what they see right here in this chamber, a democratically elected government. Their leaders are self-appointed. They hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with each other. Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy. There's no in between. You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear. I will continue to make that clear.
We have an obligation to every last victim of this illegal aggression because all of this carnage has been done in our name. Since World War II, 90% of the casualties of war are unarmed civilians, a third of them children. Our victims have done nothing to us. From Palestine to Afghanistan to Iraq to Somalia to wherever our next target may be, their murders are not collateral damage. They are the nature of modern warfare. They don't hate us because of our freedoms. They hate us because every day we are funding and committing crimes against humanity. The so-called war on terror is a cover for our military aggression to gain control of the resources of Western Asia. This is sending the poor of this country to kill the poor of those Muslim countries. This is trading blood for oil. This is genocide, and to most of the world, we are the terrorists. In these times, remaining silent on our responsibility to the world and its future is criminal. And in light of our complicity in the supreme crimes against humanity in Iraq and Afghanistan and ongoing violations of the UN Charter and international law, how dare any American criticize the actions of legitimate resistance to illegal occupation? Our so-called enemies in Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, our other colonies around the world, and our inner cities here at home are struggling against the oppressive hand of empire, demanding respect for their humanity. They are labeled insurgents or terrorists for resisting rape and pillage by the white establishment, but they are our brothers and sisters in the struggle for justice. The civilians at the other end of our weapons don't have a choice, but American soldiers have choices. And while there may have been some doubt 5 years ago, today we know the truth. Our soldiers don't sacrifice for duty, honor, country. They sacrifice for Kellogg, Brown, and Root. They don't fight for America, they fight for their lives and their buddies beside them because we put them in a war zone. They're not defending our freedoms. They're laying the foundation for 14 permanent military bases to defend the freedoms of ExxonMobil and British Petroleum. They're not establishing democracy. They're establishing the basis for an economic occupation to continue after the military occupation has ended. Iraqi society today, thanks to American help, is defined by house raids, death squads, checkpoints, detentions, curfews, blood in the streets, and constant violence. We must dare to speak out in support of the Iraqi people who resist and endure the horrific existence we brought upon them through our bloodthirsty imperial crusade. We must dare to speak out in support of those American war resistors, the real military heroes who uphold their oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, including those terrorist cells in Washington, D.C., more commonly known as the Legislative